Close your eyes for a second. You're only going to hear this once in your life. Close your eyes. And now, the champion golfer of the year, Malcomb Duck, winner of the medal. You'll never hear that again.
I'm not sure I heard what you said.
It's time for our next stop on Scotland's Gulf Coast. And well, Tom Doak, when he goes to work designing a golf course, he uses every single aspect of the topography of the land. And certainly this ancient sand base that is home to so many links courses, well, it was a perfect tapestry for Tom Doak. We're here at the Renaissance Club along Scotland's Gulf Coast, and we're in for a special treat because one of the members is going to join me, and his name is Mr. Malcomb Duck, or you can call him Ducky. And Ducky's going to give us, well, an overview of the Scottish Open that is played at the Renaissance Club and some of the more difficult holes here. He's going to tee it up and take us around. So let's take a look at our next stop on Scotland's Gulf Coast.
Rare indeed. The Renaissance Club sits in the heart of Scotland's Gulf Coast. It has some rather illustrious neighbours, including Muirfield, North Berwick and Gullen, which lie along this spectacular golfing coastline. The club was founded with respect for the traditions of the game, and Tom Doak was hired to create a world-class course. His renowned ability to move minimal earth showcases the natural features of the land. For Doak, this was a cherished opportunity to return to Scotland to build a course after having spent time living and working amongst the storied links of where golf began. His mission was to create a course the Scots would respect, that would be in harmony with its surroundings and be inspired by, but different from, its famous neighbours. In 2005, the club exchanged ground with Muirfield. The land they inherited can only be described as quite incredible. The start of the stretch of holes, beginning as you walk off the 8th green and make your way to the 9th tee, is quite stunning. The whole of the Firth of Forth opens up before you. The vistas are spectacular standing on this par 3 and are elevated somewhat by the fact you play towards an infinity green that can lead you into a false sense of depth, with many a tee shot coming up short on this challenging short hole. The signature hole is most definitely the 10th. It is perched on top of the dunes, sitting along the coastline looking out to Fidra Island, made famous by Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. The club has proudly played host to the Scottish Open on the men's and ladies' European tours and continues to work closely with players including Padraig Harrington, who the club brought in to work alongside Tom Doak to enhance the playing experience for both professionals and members. It is not difficult to see why the world's best come to play this modern, enthralling and challenging links.
You know, a pedigree with a golf course, Ducky, is, well, we know Muirfield has hosted numerous Open Championships. A pedigree of a golf course, well, the Genesis Scottish Open is held right here at the Renaissance.
Absolutely, and up to including 26, and where we go after that, we'll see. And that is now the second biggest tournament outside a major. I think Sawgrass, the Players, is the biggest, and then here. So it's now got FedEx points and so on. So it's a warm up for the Open. People say it's a links course, it's not a links course. We're right beside Muirfield on the same ground. If you see a bunker being built, it's pure sand. So a links course to me is the ground that links the beach to the arable land, which this is. It was all covered in trees when we started off, but it's not anymore. It's now a beautiful golf course. So it's yeah, I mean the pedigree is fantastic, and you know, Tom Doak, a designer, like anyone that does things well, you have your critics and your supporters.
I don't know what you'd criticize out here. No, this green behind us, we'll use to arc to a criticism. Everybody's always picking at something. There's always a person. But this green behind us, As far as photogenic, obviously, the seas behind us, the green is just dancing. It's emerald green is sparkling underneath this spring sunshine in Scotland. But there's a complaint by some people. They don't like this hole. Explain that.
Well, a couple of the tours on the front left, that big bump you see behind us, that big bump, the tours feel you can't put a front left pin position. So I was talking to Tom about it, and Tom said, okay, I want to change that. What do I do? I'll take out the bump. I have to reorganize the whole freaking front of the green. I put a bunker in. You hit it short, you go in the bunker. Everyone's happy. As it is, you do nothing. You hit it short, you hit off the hill.
Right.
Why are they not happy? It's called a penalty.
Yeah, right.
And you know, and he's about natural contours, natural use of the land, which Muirfield is. So, and I think this is a great golf hole. I mean, you can be hitting wedge, and you can be hitting a rescue or a driver into the wind. I mean, there's only 2 par 3s, I think, on the old course in Andrews. Where I can't remember.
Don't remember.
But that par 3, 11th, 12th out there, that can be a wedge, it can be a driver, because you're with the wind. If you go back to Rory when he won the Scottish Open here 2 years ago, a little plaque for his 2-iron shot. 30, 40 yards on, there's a bunker. Aaron Rai won it. He was in the bunker on his last round. You got to the green from the bunker.
Ooh.
30 yards where Rory hit, ahead of where Rory hit 2-iron. Welcome to Scottish golf.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Well, arcing to you said natural before, using the topography. You know, we're so used in America, in the States, that a land developer comes in and says, here's 1,000 acres, I want to build a golf course resort property. Hire Nicholas, hire whoever, and start cutting trees down and flattening this thing out, and let's move this, and let's construct this, and blah, 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 blah. Scotland, the home of golf, uses the natural topography for your links courses, and that natural topography, in my opinion, Ducky, hands down beats somebody moving earth to build a golf course.
And it's not just the links courses, because Scotland's known for its links course, but the inland courses. I mean, Glen Eagles, there's so many Creef, there's so many great inland courses, but they're all built for hickories. We played hickory in those
Don't
days.
forget that.
So, you know, and there's a big hickory movement in the States, and to an extent here, there's a kind of confusion about what the rules, how do you do your handicap between the two. But hickory golf, most of these Scottish golf courses were built for hickory clubs.
Right.
So they're not, the rule used to be you had to tee up within 2 club lengths of the hole. So a lot of the tees are close together. They're walking courses. You know, Glen Eagles has got 3 great courses. The one that the Ryder Cup was on, the PGA. A lot of Scots don't like it because of the walks, not the holes. I mean, the Kings is just one of the most magnificent inland courses in the world. The Queen's is another great course. Rosemount, Gary, 2 courses there. I mean, just spectacular, but nobody knows them. They're not on the Toroid map. Kilspindie here that I play in, we've done a lot with Kilspindie on YouTube. People ought to know it. People say, if it's not expensive, it's not good. Ooh, shit. It's very, very few poor golf courses in Scotland, because they'd have gone bust years ago. And we're struggling now with some of the courses, not because golf in Scotland is about people, and it's now becoming a product for tourists and tour operators. Tour operators are great, the mix of people coming and booking, and the tour operators do a great job to sell Scotland, but people want to come and do the bucket end courses, high level, but golf courses are a mix between tourism and health and wellness. Yeah, and spend your driving time in the pub.
Oh, yeah, right. All right, well, Mr. Malcomb Duck, who goes by Ducky, well, he's going to take us out on the course here at the Renaissance, part of Scotland's Golf Coast.
And then a par 3 going in from there. So we lost the first 3 holes. We've lost the 12th. We created 3 holes down here where we are now. I lost the first 3 holes. This is now a practice area. And it was really interesting because when you came up here on the 12th, it was really quiet and restful and peaceful, and now you go down around the coast and it's not. It's wild and windy, and we're both beautiful in different ways. So we're going to play the three new holes, but actually the fourth hole on this loop is a combination of two holes, and you can hear the skylarks. It's seventh heaven, isn't it? Really. I mean, golf in Scotland, Turnberry's got the lighthouse. You've got the corner here, you'll see the lighthouse, which is Treasure Island from Robert Louis Stevenson. You just hear that twittering. It's just gorgeous. My wife says Malcolm's silence is great. Straight down the bud. See how that's bending past the bunker? See that? Coming around the green. Got that? Run out. So hopefully toe up. Pretty vertical. A little bit too far right. So we're now on the ninth and the club route. This would be the 10th, 11th, 12th on the Scottish Open route, because at the beginning our first was the fourth, but we did away with the front three holes to give you this vista and these new holes here. So you got this is the first of the new holes, the par 3, par 4, par 3 coming down just behind you. You've got almost double green separated by a wall. Scottish Open route, we need a 2-tee start. So our 7th becomes a 10th, and I baffle myself with numbers at sometimes because everything works. So Scottish Open, you need the putting green and players to go to the 1st and 10th in the first 2 days, and then it works. So this initially was on the front 9, and then as the newer greens got better, on the back 9, because initially they didn't want newer greens on the back 9 of a tournament. And the Scottish Open has gone from there to there to there to there, and it's now the second biggest tournament outside a major. I think it's the Players at Sawgrass and here, because it's DP World Tour event, and it's PGA event, and it's FedEx points, the whole lot. So the field is incredible, and they're set up for the Open in Scotland, and we're playing in Links course. The Link story is a whole nother story. What's Links? Anywhere you go in here and you dug a bunker, it's pure sand. People say this isn't Links, it's a modern Links, and Muirfield's just across there. Well, Muirfield is, I've said before, there are no good holes at Muirfield. People get upset with me. What I mean by that, there's no hole as bad as good. Those holes are all fantastic. The bunkering is, Tom Duck would say, some of the best bunkering in the world is in Muirfield, and it's there. So how do you hold 2 tournaments back to back? That would be a discussion that happens in time. I think the RNA are probably against it for whatever reason that they are. But apart from that, you got logistics as to car parks, because the car park would be used for the same tournaments, and if it's muddy in the Scottish Open, what happens? And that was what Fitter Island is what Robert Louis Stevenson based Treasure Island on, because that was built by his father, the Stevenson Lighthouse.
When we get down to that green, you'll retell me that story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So I talked about the little bump on the left. So this shot, getting close to pin, if you're a tour player, you can maybe stop it. Old numpty like me, you just want to be coming a little bit left and let it break down right. Laura Davis, hole in 1. Dame Laura Davis, Damo. I mean, she is just, what a wonderful person she is. And how she's looked after players, and her commentary's great. Anyway, I'm going to hit the shot. Hopefully, we'll go vaguely in the correct direction. in the correct direction. In the correct direction. Well, it's gone left. It's hit the green. You probably can see it on camera or not, probably can't, but it's just running long through the back, leaving your chip back. So it's very hard to get close to this pin. So coming off here with a 3 for an amateur is a good score. So, like I was saying, the par 3s, now we're playing this new par 3 coming down here. You look just to the left of the pin, there's a bump. And the kind of tours want that taken away and put something else in, like a bunker. And Tom Duck would say, Tom uses natural land. So the tours, R&A and the World Tour and the PGA feel they can't get a front left pin position. And Tom would say, well, if I change that, I put a bunker in. You penalise with a bunker. Now you penalise by the kick. And they've now accepted that. But standing up here, the views back to Edinburgh are just gorgeous. And also, when the old route, this used to be a par 3 going that way. So facing this way with my club is a bit odd, but that used to be the old par 3. But we move on in life, and life is about progress, so my wife tells me. So we're here at the halfway house. I'm not going to tell you what hole it is because the Scottish Open is a different mark thing, but this is the halfway house. And strange person called Eric Anderslang reckons it's his favourite halfway house in the world, and I've not travelled like him, but for me it's just a very special place. The club should we staff it, should we not? For me, I think it's unstaffed it just adds the atmosphere of the place. And if you look at Phil Randy's doing and you look around the views, it's just fantastic. But to come here and sit here and have a drink or have a cup of coffee or have a whiskey or a bottle of wine or a Magna champagne or whatever, it's timeless. It's for me, it's one of the most special places in the world for me. And there are two special places in this club. Is the terrace outside the clubhouse. So you were talking about the home of golf, which is Scotland, which I agree. But St Andrews and the R&A have kind of stolen the name home of golf, St Andrews. Shitbull is maybe what I'd say, not to be rude about things. Scotland is the home of golf, and Scotland is where golf began, and I do Scotland's golf course, and Scotland golf began. 1457 is when golf was first noted.
Say the date again.
1457.
1457, for you guys that aren't golf historians.
Yeah.
Now you know the facts.
So, we do 1457 Society. So that is when James II, the proper James II, the English James II is actually James VII. Right, because we had 2 crowns.
Look, you got George Washington, you got John Adams.
A bit before that.
A bit before that, okay.
So he was the first person to record golfing, and he got a set of clubs from Perth. So little podcast we do, I take a little bit the mickey out of St Andrews because the first thing they invented was PR.
Right.
So they're called the Royal and Ancient.
Yes.
There's another club called Royal Perth. Which is a little club nobody really knows about.
Where is that?
They were Perth. They play a bit of golf here and there, and more of a society of people than the golf course, but they have a little course. And for them, that's not important. But they were the first Royal club. So the Royal R&A insisted on ancient being put on their name to make them sound older than Perth.
It does though. It does.
So they're actually the junior club. And when it comes to the Open, Prestwick started the Open. So the 150th St Andrews was the 149th. Sorry, Prestwick, I know you don't let me telling this because it takes an Open away from you, but it was an invitational. So it wasn't an Open.
Oh, okay.
The second one was an Open. Actually, the 149th.
Are you following this? You're really becoming a Scottish golf historian with this. So you can't just be running around saying, "Oh yeah, St Andrews is the home of golf."
Scotland's the home of golf.
Scotland's the home
golf
of golf
worldwide, and most of it started here. But actually, the real story is it started with the mariners, the sailors on the east coast, and the trading with Holland. So golf took hold. They'd be 3-4 hole courses, 5 hole courses. So here, Muirfield wouldn't have been there, wasn't there at all. It was a race course before that, horse ride out. But right about the end of what's now Kilspindie, you'd have 4 or 5 holes. Most of the course had been 4 or 5 holes. I think Blackheath was one of the first extended to maybe 10. The Honourable Company of Edinburgh Golfers, who now play at Muirfield, they started at Leith Links.
And where was Leith Links?
So Leith Links is the other city beside Edinburgh. So there's a statue to a guy called Rattery, John Rattery, down there. And he was the guy who's credited for writing, I'm not, quote me on this, writing the rules of golf. So the archers are the Queen's bodyguard in Scotland, or the monarch's bodyguard, and the King's bodyguard. And they shot, and they had a silver arrow for the winner. So a lot of the members there were archers, so they thought they should have a silver golf club for competition, and the city council provided the arrow and the golf club. So to provide the golf club, they said this should be open. So they had to set a rules, and those set of rules were the first 16 rules which are now in the Muirfield clubhouse as to how golf is played. And the most important one, the fundamental rule of golf is you play it as the ball lies.
You have
to. If you get that right, then everything else comes from there. But they were lost, and Andrews, were kind of saying they'd written the rules, but then it got found in an old minute book, and there's actually a rule that relates to a specific piece of ground at Leith. It didn't exist in St Andrews. It was pretty easy to prove it wasn't way around. But Rattery, 1745, Bonnie Prince Charlie time. Rattery was a surgeon. He was one of 3 of Bonnie Prince Charlie's surgeons. So after the 45 rebellion, he was arrested and taken to the Tower of London to be executed. And the night before he was executed, this is a true story, his foursomes partner intervened.
No way. Because they had a match probably the next day.
He was released.
No way.
Absolutely true.
Brilliant.
Absolutely true. So Rattery,
golf saves lives.
Rattery, golf saves lives. So Rattery was the first holder of the silver club.
Good man,
silver arrow.
Good man, he.
So St Andrews, it started here. The 3 clubs that started the Open, initially Bestwick, but then the other 2 clubs, the Royal and Ancient and the Honourable Company, came in. And the young Tommy won the Open at Prestwick 3 times, therefore kept the belt. And from there, they didn't have a trophy. So they got another trophy in the shape of a claret jug. But it wasn't...
Your fans, hi.
It wasn't done in time for the Open. So they all put £10 in. And there is some argument that the Royal and Ancient don't own that trophy. It's owned by the 3 clubs. They put it in the minute somewhere. So they didn't have a trophy. So they put another £2 in to have a coin. So if you win the Open golf competition, not the British Open, doesn't exist, it's the Open, what do you win?
The claret jug.
No, you don't.
What do you win?
You win the medal.
The medal. Then what is the jug then?
Ancillary.
Ancillary.
So the jug wasn't ready for that competition. So if you hear the boss of the RNA and the champion golf of the year and the winner of the gold medal,
yes,
is the gold medal. And I don't know the ins and outs whether the 3 clubs own it or the RNA own it, but the argument the 3 clubs own the medal and the claret jug.
Close your eyes for a second. You're only going to hear this once in your life. Close your eyes. And now the champion golfer of the year, Malcomb Duck, winner of the medal. You'll never hear that again.
I'm not sure I heard what you said.
Find over 550 courses to discover right here in Scotland. Find 9, 12 and 18 hole courses. Find a hole-in-one, if you're lucky. Find courses like nowhere else in the world. Find one you've never played before, with some unexpected spectators. Find courses with a rich past. Find a new hobby for the future. Find yourself digging the clubs out from the shed. Find yourself playing in the Open. maybe not that open. Acres of open space, away from everything, enjoying the silence.
4.
Find rolling fairways and beautifully kept greens. Find the pin. Find your form. Is that an eagle? Find breathtaking views, beaches and coastlines. Don't find yourself in the sand. Find all this right on your doorstep. And only in Scotland will you find travelling so little makes such a big difference.